right now I have this big old box that we'll take a look at. It's too big to even fit on the screen, really, but obviously it's a Concor or something, but I'll open it up here so you can take a look. What's inside? And ta-da! Why it needed this big of a box, I have no idea. But we got two switchers here. One's a dummy, one's the real deal. Let me open it up. Let me take them out so you can take a look at what they look like. Alright, here they are. Looks snazzy at first glance. Not too bad. Now this is the 50th anniversary edition of the NMRA, which I believe is the Model Railroad Association. So it's got some history here. These are pretty old. You can see the date there, 1985, would have been that 50th year anniversary. So these things are already over 30 years old, but they look great from a paint job perspective. Again, one's a dummy, one's the real thing. Kind of hard to tell just by looking at them, but take your pick. What do you think? Which one is the real engine? I don't even know. So let's take a look. Answer is this guy over here, whereas this one is just the dummy. Nothing on the inside, if you will. Like I said, these are kind of old, from the 80s, but they've held up great over the years. Got this off of eBay for a pretty decent price. We'll go over that later. But for what you see, I think they look good. We'll get them out on the track, see what they do, and start giving them a nice rating. Alright, we got them nice set up here on the track. Not quite sure how these double switches are meant to be run, but I just kind of sandwiched in some cars in between them. Because I think that looks pretty good, doing it that way. But I don't know, let me know if this is all goofed up. So we'll set it up here, get it going, and you can see how they work. Around corners, it's a little struggle. It's a little jerky at slower speeds. Once you speed it up some, it comes somewhat smooth. See the nice little lights there? Alright, so overall look, it's decent. Like I said, paint job's pretty good, especially for how old it is, but the details are kind of lacking, it seems. There are some rivets and things, but overall, kind of plain, kind of boring. But I like the fact that there's two of them. I think it looks nice together like that. But as it is, you know, what it is, I'm going to give it a 4 for the look. Just because it is slightly on the ugly side. You can see in the windows there, they aren't really windows. They're, that's the metal for the weights. If you can get it in focus and you can see. So, again, details kind of lacking, but not terrible. As far as the materials go, they're okay. Nothing too fancy, nothing too cheap. It does the job. I'm giving it a 5, right down the middle. Just because the whole thing seems to be made out of metal, which is nice, but it also seems and feels a little bit on the cheap side. So I'm splitting it right down the middle at a 5. For uniqueness, it's decent. You see a lot of these switchers, but not many come in like a 2-pack like this, which is nice. I do like that. And the fact that it's the 50th anniversary of the NMRA is pretty special as well. So I'm giving it a 6. Again, just because a lot of these switchers are out there, But this one has some nice, unique qualities to it. As far as sound level goes, I mean, it's not exactly the best. It's not the worst either, I'd say, overall. I'm giving it a 4, because it is on the slightly loud side. Do, as always, wish it would be a little bit quieter, but hey, this is from 1985, so can't really complain too much for what it is. Power requirements, it's okay. It does need a good bit of juice to get going there. I'm giving it a 4. It's not overly terrible, but it's not great. So, again, might be due to age, might be due to needing some servicing, but if you look underneath, I can't for the life of me figure out how to open this thing up, and I don't really feel like messing with it to figure out if something's gunking up there. Because as you probably saw earlier, it does kind of jerk along, if you will. Not very smooth, even at full speed or cruising speed there. So, I don't know, again, if it's a problem with the model, something's gunking it up, but yeah, it does need a good bit of power to get going. From a pulling strength perspective, it doesn't really have much juice as well. And because it does kind of jerk even on its own, I'm giving it a 3 from for its motor strength there. Now, interesting factoid about that motor, I noticed when I was looking at this earlier, underneath, it says Kato on the bottom. Now, according to the box and all the literature inside, this is supposed to be a Concor. Now, why is that? I'm not too up to speed on my model train history, especially since this is from 1985, before my time. But if I open up the literature that came with the model itself, you'll see this fancy little advertising for the model, and it gives some information about it. Talks about how it's the 50th year anniversary and so on and so forth, but if I read the fine print, it says, the end sets use our SW1500 with a new Concor/Kato drive. We've made them to be compatible with modelers' beltline or shortline layouts. This type of switcher is very popular with the prototype railroads. Shouldn't you own a set? So kudos to the marketing department to try and subconsciously convince you to purchase this. But I guess that means, lo and behold, again, in there somewhere, the Concor Kato drive is equipped, so there must have been a special partnership or something between Kato and Concor in the 80s. Slow speeds, it's pretty bad. It starts, stops, creeps along. It looks good slow, but you can tell it's struggling. And every now and then it slows down, speeds up. Very, very jerky. It's getting a 1. And it even stopped there. Due to the lack of power to the engine. But if you tap it, it'll probably get going there. There it goes. So, as you can see, it's going to deserve a 1. Probably the best quality of this model is its ability to stay on the track. Haven't had any problems with it derailing, and as you saw earlier, I mean, it's super easy to pop back on should it come off, or if you want to put it on to start with. So, pretty good, giving it a 9 in that regards, because it is quite easy to put on the track and have it stick. As far as problems go, I haven't really had any per se. I mean, it does, like I said, run rather funky. That would be the only complaint I would have in terms of problems, and that was kind of already taken into account with its motor strength and all that. So I'm giving it this a 7 at the problem level, because it still works. And the problem of the, I guess, older motor not working up to 100% is kind of already taken into account. Now, as far as the value is concerned, I think I did pretty darn good here. Paid right at $35 with shipping and all that, which, if you look at the original price, according to the brochure, you were looking at $60 back in 1985 dollars, so who knows what that is today, probably double that. And I looked on eBay, somebody bought one of these for $60, or really $56, not too long ago, and there's currently one right now for $120, and 2 poor souls are watching that right now. So at $35, all said and done, I think I did pretty darn good for the value of this thing. Now, it doesn't really work super well, and like I said, maybe it just needs a bit of servicing. But for $35, I think it's an all-around, well, decent purchase. There's some history here, being the 50th year anniversary of the NMRA. Not to mention, it's old to begin with, 30 years plus, from 1985, and it was a special, I would think, Concor/Cato tie-up, which is, again, an interesting bit of history there. So not too bad for $35. So when you total it all up, it's an even rounded 50, right down the middle of a possible 100. And actually, I just realized that probably makes a lot of sense, because this is the 50th anniversary edition. So I guess having a score of 50 is within its destiny. So, what do you guys think? Good, bad, terrible? Would like to know your thoughts down below. Maybe you guys have one of these. Would love to know what you paid for them. And with that said, I'll sign off and watch out for more.